what was it like first time meeting Pop?
Wow, just inspiring. You know, I mean, he called me on the phone. You know,
so he called you.
You know Bezo? Do you know Bezo?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, man. Bezo goes, man. Me and Bezo go back, but he's just somebody that was in the industry at that time. He was around. You know, he knew a lot of heads, and Tupac was one of his homies, and he happened to be at the video shoot for How Do You Want It?
Okay,
and he said, I don't know how my name got brought up, but my name got brought up. He's like, man, you know Jon B, call him up, man. So Tupac called me up.
That's crazy.
And answered the phone. He's like, man, it's Tupac. And I was just like, what's up, man? And he's like, come down to my video shoot, man. I'm shooting right here in LA, man. I want to meet
super
you.
Dope.
And I said, what? I was like, all right, cool. I'll be right down, you know? So, but it was such an unexpected call, right?
Yeah.
I was like, what?
That's
wild. Like, you know, so I came down and I remember seeing Eric B from Eric B and Rakim. You know, he was out there, and he greeted me on the way in. And I was like, oh man, I'm in here with some heavyweights. Like, I'm in here with hip hop heavyweights. So I walk in, and then here's Casey and JoJo. They greet me at the RV. And like, what's up, man? I'm like, oh my God, Jodeci up in the building. What's good?
Because Jodeci sang the hook on that record, right?
Yeah. How do you want it?
Yeah,
for
so
sure.
So they were shooting the video and everything. And Johnny J, you know, Tupac's producer. And so I'm meeting everybody for the first time. And Sway, I remember Sway from, you know, Sway was there.
Yeah, okay.
And so then Pac is there, and he's just, man, he's so cool. You know, just, hey man, you got something to play me or anything you working on? And so of course I do, you know? Put the CD in. I start
glad you asked.
Yeah, I'm glad you asked, sir.
Matter of fact, you know what I'm saying? So I put on a couple tracks, you know, and he starts just freestyling to my beats, and we just, you know, instantaneously everyone's, oh, it's like that, y'all got to take that to the studio, man, you know. So we were kind of going back and forth, and I just felt like instantaneously, like we locked in. Like this is just on the RV. We hadn't really, you know, talked about really even collaborating. It was just like a freestyle moment. You know, and
is this how Are You Still Down was created? Or?
No, this is just us just meeting for the first time.
Oh, this is just kind of a kick it session.
First time in the RV at How Do You Want It video shoot. He's in the downtime, you know, getting ready for the next scene, and you know he's having like, you know, girls come up on the RV, and he's like, hold on, man, I'll be right back. You know what I mean? And be gone, you know, for like a little while, come back in the room, and you know, be like, all right, you know, let's smoking the blunt, you know, and like, what is that, man? You know, that's beat, you know, I got whatever. That's hard, man. That's hard. The energy was so dope because it was just like, all right, 2 weeks later, we said we was going to link. So 2 weeks later, boom. What's up, JB? Let's get it. All right, cool. We're at Can-Am Studios. Boom. I roll out there. They have all the rental gear and everything that I needed for my session. You know, MPC 3000, you know, all my racks and stuff like that, outboard little synth racks and stuff, and had a synthesizer, had a vocoder there for me to be able to do the vocal box and all that. And so I was ready to cook up a beat for him. But I said, you know, when I came in, I saw my CD Bonafide sitting in his car on the front seat. You know, sitting shotgun was Bonafide right there.
Tupac listens to R&B.
And I was like, are you kidding? I knew it was his car because it was a burgundy, just dipped ass like Rolls Royce. And I was like, okay, now this is like this got to be Pac's car or whatever. Right. So, but I walk in, you know, he was there early. He had already been there. So I don't know. I guess he was recording in the other room.
Of course he was.
I kind of felt like a little late almost, even though I was on time. You know, I actually came early to set up to get the beat going, you know. But anyway, rather than cooking up the beat, I said, do you have anything that you want to play me that you guys have worked on as far as beat wise? He's like, well, let me just play you something. And he played the beat for Are You Still Down? And as soon as I heard, that rim and that shuffle, because I'm a big Sade fan, right? Huge fans of them. But the rhythm that I heard of Are You Still Down, when I first heard the beat, I thought, man, this is like some Marvin Gaye. Okay, this is like sexual healing part 2.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? What is this? I've never heard a record kind of, it almost has a Latin kind of thing to it. So like a little cha-cha vibe or something. I just was like, what is this? Because the beat itself, I know Tupac used that beat for another song called Tongue Kissing. That was the first time that beat had been used. And that was recorded before Are You Still Down? But Pac still felt like that was an unfinished story, and he felt like telling the story with me and making the official record that beat was going to become Are You Still Down? So I said, that's the beat right there, man.
Yeah.
Like, so damn, the keyboards and all that I brought to do the record is like, I was like, no, that's the one. So we just took it down to 2-inch, to reel and recorded it. And we just started to cook up right there. And the first thing we came up with was the hook. And he said, what you want to write about, man? And I was like, man, because I was actually heartbroken at the time. Like I was really lonely, kind of going through a single period where the girl that I was with for a long time, we weren't together anymore. So I was kind of in that process of kind of mourning her, you know what I mean? And being like, all right, how can I get back at her? You know what I mean? And be like, see, you should holler. You know what I mean? That type of thing. And he's like, he said, what do you want to write about? And I was like, man, how do you say like, what's up? Like, what's been up with you? I haven't seen you in a long time. He's like, oh, you want to ask her, are you still down? And I said, okay, is that I'm gonna like that, And he goes, so what's the melody, And I was just like, and he said, then he's the one who came up with the lyrics. So, girl, it's all right, baby. And then he kept on phrasing it exactly how the record goes now that you hear it, but he was singing it.
That's crazy.
Pac wrote the hook essentially.
Well, we wrote it together.
Yeah.
But yes, I mean, I will give him that because if it was up to me, it probably would have gone a little bit. I probably would have changed the melody a little bit and like deviated. He helped me not deviate. He's like, no, that's cool and everything. But he goes, girl, it's all right, baby. I'd be like, oh, like that? Okay, cool. Girl, it's all right, baby. Yeah, like that. Keep that.
It's something about hip hop acts like rappers. They a lot of times don't have the gift to do a bunch of singing. So they hold the beauty of melody, and melody's king. I don't care how good you sing. If the people can't sing with you, then the song is useless.
You know what I mean?
So a lot of the melodies that rappers come up with is so clean and simple that it's perfect. So because they're not doing a bunch of and all that other stuff, like they don't do that. So it's like to be able to kind of just go, girl, it's all right. It was perfect.
Yeah.
It worked. And that's the beauty of hip hop artists. A lot of times they just trying to get to what feels the most important.
Yeah, he was definitely trying to get to what feels, because he was telling me, he was like, I was singing it down and he was like, all right, cool. That's cool. Let's do this from the very beginning. He said, I wanted to just burn from the very, very first note. I want to just feel that you mean it, JB. And I was like, all right, cool, run it. And then that's what you hear. I hit this like high note and start doing the ad libs that you hear on that record. But it was so much emotion I was trying to pull because I felt the pressure from Pac in the other room. Like, you better do that right, man.
Right.
Like, listen, we didn't come here to play, bro. Like, sing it,
Was it the full Death Row experience that everybody hears about?
It was, man. It was
so
like
you had to do it right.
40 people, but he was making sure that it was about me, though. Like everybody in the room, when the chatter got up, he would put his foot down and be like, listen, everybody, do you know who that is in there? That's Jon B up in there. Let's keep it down. Like, that's my man's crazy. Cutting his vocals right now, A funny story was we were passing around the Hennessy and the blunts were going around and everything, and we're having a good old time. And I already sang my main vocals. So now I'm just kind of putting the icing on the cake. I'm having fun. All the pressure's off, but I'm messing up. Because I'm doing too much, I'm like, girl, it's all right, baby. You know what I mean? He's like, wait, hold on. He's like, hold on. Stop the tape. He's like, no more Hennessy or no more blunt. But John, man, don't nobody pass him nothing until you get that shit. Get that
Pull
right,
it back,
bro.
everybody. Pull
Get
it
that,
back.
get that right, bro, right now. And I was like, all right. And then that's what you hear on the record is the take of me going, girl, this is all precise. And like perfect. I'm all trying to make it.
Right.
Man, Pac was pressure, man. Pac was pressure.
That's
You really
dope.
nervous during that session?
If the engine, not nervous. I felt like he was my brother, you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
nevertheless, like, you know how your brother
Pushes you.
and he's not gonna, all right, that was all right. That
Yeah,
was
yeah.
cool. But get it again, bro. You got
Yeah,
this.
that's right.
Like that type of, you know,
Ain't
that
nothing wrong
tough
with that.
love. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I just felt like I had known this guy all my life, man. You know, like what we were doing was so important that I didn't even need to. There's no more validation I'll ever need in my life after that session.
Yeah.
Pac made me feel like a man in that session. He
That's
made me feel
deep.
like a
That's
king.
So he has a
that
birthday
session.
coming up,
Yeah.
June 16th.
Yeah.
Right? He's a Gemini, if I'm not mistaken.
Gemini, yes, he
Yeah,
is.
yeah.
What do you think? And you've probably answered this, but maybe you can find a different way to answer it. What's the one thing that Pac taught you, maybe subconsciously, or maybe something he told you in person?
Just don't waste your time. Don't waste your time. Don't waste your talent. You know, like make the time count. Like if you're gonna go in the studio and make some music, make 3 songs. He's like, you're not doing it unless you do 3 songs, man. Like I know you, JB. He's like, you can go in there and make 10 songs. So go in there and make at least 3 songs a day, or you know.
He
I was
definitely
like,
practiced what he preached.
You know, and he really did. Because I mean, right after we recorded Are You Still Down, he's like, I was about to get out of there. He's like, man, hey, you want to check out this other song I'm working on? I was like, all right, where you at? He's like, he had the other room booked in the, you know, the B room or whatever.
Yeah.
And he had To Live and Die in LA going.
Oh, shit.
And he was recording his double.
You wish you could have got on that one. Huh? Val Young. Shout out to Val Young. She's
yeah,
on that
shout out
record.
to
Val
Val.
Young was there with me
Love
in the
you, V.
room. She was with me.
she was there.
She had just recorded her hook. So he had done his first track. He doubles his vocals, right? But he doubles his vocals so clean that it sounds like the same take. It's like, you know, you guys, how you do that Xerox copy of your vocal.
Mm-hmm. We try.
Yes, you do. And you do that exactly like that. Yeah, just
No, that's sick.
it's an amazing thing to be in the room with the heavyweights. It just makes you feel like, okay, I've elevated to this level. We're on the same record now. Like, what do you mean? 2 weeks later, he was shot. Wow. And so to, you know, have the experience of like having this new homie that, you know, I was just completely like, all right, we're about to change the world, man. You know, this song, I remember on my way home rolling the window down and letting the breeze blow, you know, and I was just like thinking, this is my song right here. Like,
Yeah,
this
it
is the
is.
song.
Yeah,
They
it
don't know it yet, but this is the song. Like, I thought, what's gonna happen now? Like, this is out of here.
Mm.
I'm on my way to England, and because I'm gonna record out there in a studio just to finish I had this last little creative whim I wanted to try before I wrap up the album and master it. Because Are You Still Down was like the very, very last song that we recorded for my album. Cool Relax was about to come out. So I'm in England and I'm in the studio called Air Studios, which is owned by the Beatles,
Oh, George Martin?
George Martin
Mhm,
Studios. Yeah,
mhm.
exactly. It's an old Catholic church that has been renovated.
I've heard of it. I heard it's amazing.
It's
Yeah.
beautiful, beautiful
Yeah.
part of England.
Mhm.
And when I was recording, they called me up and they said, Pac got shot. And I said, well, he got shot before.
Right. That's what everybody thought.
And
He'll
I
be all
said-
right.
I said,
Bounce back.
I'm praying for him, and literally I'm in like this Catholic church with stained glass windows, and you know what I mean? It's like, it's a studio, but I'm in a church and I'm just listening to my friend tell me about Pac getting shot and he's not doing good. And so every single day we would try to call up to the hospital. We would try to find out what was going on. And then by I think it was the 7th day or something like that. It's like a week later, I remember they told me they took him off life support and he's gone. I was just like, this can't be happening to me right now. Like, this is, and I know that's selfish to say, you know what I mean? But I was like,
Yeah.
that could not have happened, that I just met this dude like this. Like, his life got taken. He didn't die of natural causes.
Right.
He died of a violent experience, man.
Yeah.
And so it was traumatic for me. You know what I mean? I was like kind of scared for my life at the same time. I was like everything, all the same thing. I was like, Tupac, what? You know, I was.
That's when things got real in the
dark.
music industry.
Dark.
Yeah, like everybody was scared.
I think
to kind of move
it changed
around.
everything. I mean, because here was this, I had this gem of a record by this man who's no longer here, who's a legend, who everyone's gonna talk about. What was the last thing? You know, I knew the type of burden that was, and at the same time, a blessing that was being bestowed upon me, you know? And so I was really went into kind of like denial state of like, I don't even know what to speak on right now. Because this is before I even met Afeni or any of that. This is just us doing the song.
Yeah.
No one had vouched for me yet. I didn't speak to Suge about anything. It was nothing,
Right.
on the table as far as business. And it was all this unfinished business that was left for me to kind of like just discuss with my label and all that. And the label was like, so what are we going to do with this? It's not going on the album, right? And I was like, it's got to go on the album, but how can it? You know, it's like we don't have nobody to sign off on it and stuff. And there was, of course, all this red tape with Death Row and all that. So what happened was somehow the record got leaked in Atlanta. They started playing it. This DJ in Atlanta played it, and somebody got to me and was like, "They're playing it already," and I was like, "They can't be playing. How did they get it?" Somebody got it. And it was like a rough mix and everything.
Wow.
And
sometimes rough mixes are the best mixes.
It was crazy. So that forced us into the idea of like, let's at least get a good mix of the song. You know what I mean? So if they're gonna play it, let's let them hear it properly. So we went into the mode of like, I'm gonna finish this record. It's definitely one of those things like when you do one of those, you sort of see, okay, this is like a tattoo. Can't get rid of this.
Yeah.
This is a moment that's going to last forever. Yeah. It's part of me now.
Yeah.
So embrace it. The pain and the beautiful part.
Yes.
And take that like and rock it like a badge of honor. You know what I'm saying? Like that's where I stand with it. It's not something that I'll ever take for granted or get tired of speaking of or not find some other nuance to speak on because you know, I was really there. I really lived through that. And it's a beautiful thing to reflect on. Man.
And you made a classic.
When we made a classic record. And the song is one of my favorite songs to this day.
So you mentioned you sang at Pac's memorial.
Yeah. I sang at his memorial, invited by the family. And Mo Preem and Set, you know, were there. And his mother, Afeni Shakur, were there. And you know, I sang my heart out, you know, and after, you know, Afeni invited me back to her house and came back to the house and we chilled and, you know, I remember just having a really cool little time in the kitchen, just chopping it up. And it was an emotional time. I remember like shedding a tear right in front of her and she, you know, she felt me and, you know, I asked her, you know, of course, you know, how she's holding up and everything. And she was, you know, how's everything going after a year of him being gone now. And she's like, come here, let me show you something. And she took me into the room where basically she had all of the pictures of Tupac and her, literally the entire ceiling, the walls, it was all four walls completely covered with pictures. That was just, it was wallpaper of pictures of her and Pac. And I was just like, oh my gosh. Wow. She had a safe where she kept his urn. And she opened up the urn. She opened up the safe and she showed me, she's like, that's my son. And I was just like, oh my gosh. And I bowed my head and I was like, I just thank you so much for showing me this. And I'm so honored. And, you know, I just had tears in my eyes, man. I'm like, you know, I'm giving her a hug and I'm just like, she was the sweetest lady. She showed me around her house. She's like, here's my son's, you know, couch from his apartment in Westwood. He had an apartment in Westwood.
Okay.
So he had like one of these black leather couches, you know, and all these swords that he used to collect, like the Conan the Barbarian sword, Excalibur, and all these different swords. So she had all the swords on the side of the, you know, the ceilings and stuff like that, and the walls. You know, she was humanizing Tupac, this massive, you know, character that we all know. You know, this legend, you know, and she was just like, man, he was just my son. She was like, he would have all these nice clothes, John, and all his friends wouldn't have nice clothes, and he'd just go to the liquor store just to go get a bottle or whatever or something, you know, and he'd make all his friends go into his closet and borrow his clothes and get dressed up in his nice stuff just so they could go to the liquor store, you know, and look a certain way or whatever. I was like, wow, you know, thank you for sharing that story with me, you know, and like just being so like candid with me, you know, in every way. And such an honor to be here and to meet you guys and to first of all have you vouch for me like this with this song, allow me to have the memory, you know, to live with the memory of your son like this with this record. And she's like, no, he loved that song, John.
Yeah.
He played that song for me, and he never used to play me his music because it was so much, you know, the lyrics or whatever it wasn't, he didn't feel like I would appreciate it or whatever. Certain songs he'd play me, but this was the song that he was proud about. So that's why I'm called his album, Are You Still Down? The first album that was released after
That's crazy.
After his passing that she put together, she called it Are You Still Down? Because that was the last song that he recorded with me in the studio, you know.
I know a lot of people look at Tupac as a superhero, which he was.
Yeah.
But let's not forget, he was a son too.
Yeah.
And when he passed away, a mother lost a son.
Yeah.
I know we feel like, you know, he belonged to us because of what he contributed to the world of music and to entertainment and just to the culture. But he was Afeni's first.
All right. So we doing this? Are you still down? Baby, are you still down? Listen, girl, it's alright, baby, 'cause there in your eyes, yeah, I can see that you want me, by the way that you smile. Are you still down for me? Left once again at home, yeah, another night on your own, baby. Ain't no fun in loving if you're loving alone. Now does it feel to be useless? No. Ooh, can you recall how close we used to be then? Yeah, just to remember those feelings again. Seems like every time I see you, there's a tear in your eye. Time to make some decision or go dying inside. Tell them all call me a fool, but I'm stuck, it's a love thing. Plus I'm overheating from the rush. Sun's touch, kiss it through the fireworks, watch the sky. I'll make you smile, but you rather have what makes you cry. Say goodbye and leave now. With my heart on my sleeve, memories now. What I found is you still care. You have feelings and they still there. Baby girl, keep it real here. Are you still down? Girl, it's alright, baby, yeah. 'Cause there in your eye, yeah, I can see that you want me, by the way that you smile. Yeah. I knew that you were too scared to go all the way. But what? But you did it to please me. You were crying, it was raining when you gave it to me. The more I see it, the more that I feel inside. And I know one day you'll make it back to where you can fly. Watch time go, don't cry. Tomorrow brings better days. Let me try it right. Take your burdens away tonight. Hey. Yeah, that's right, I'ma take them away. Listen, baby, only once in a lifetime touch my soul. Move slow, baby boo, don't rush the flow. Got me all weak, baby, but I'm strong in parts. Won't bounce to the ounce with the longest sparks. Getting mine like fine wine, measured in time. Maybe the other brothers loved you, but the pleasure was mine. Mama taught me how to love a woman properly sprung. We committed, so I hit it, but it's properly done. Are you still down? It's alright, it's alright, alright. If it's alright with you, oh baby.
Come on.
It's alright, it's alright, it's alright. Hey. If it's alright with you, oh baby. Yeah. That's right, Shawn.
Great, let's go, baby.
Come on, man. Woo. What podcast give you a whole full goddamn concert?
Yeah, man. Let's go. That's
Happy birthday, Tupac.
Happy birthday, Pac, my bro.
Hey y'all, and that was on that note. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and if you did, here's a couple more videos for you to check out. Do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe.